What's up guys, it's Zach, and today I'm going to be going through my top 5 new features of Dark Souls 3, the third instalment in From Software's action RPG series. Dark Souls 3 is highly anticipated by many thanks to the return of the original Dark Souls director, Miyazaki. These top 5 features were based on detail shown in gameplay footage or things that have been revealed by the director himself. Without further ado, let's jump into it. Kicking off at number 5, we have faster paced combat. From the gameplay footage shown at Gamescom and TGS, we can see that the combat in Dark Souls 3 will be drawing influence from the fast paced combat that featured in Bloodborne. The magic system in Dark Souls 3 has also been improved. This includes miracles, pyromancies and possibly hexes. Miyazaki stated that they have worked hard to distinguish each individual spell and its effects. The amount of times you can cast magic will now be governed by a blue magic bar located underneath the health bar. It will work in a similar way to stamina. Each spell will consume a certain amount from the blue bar. It is rumoured that the blue bar can be restored by drinking an Ash Estus flask. These changes to combat and magic will make for more exciting and intense battles that require the player to react quickly and use strategy. For number 4, we have more accessible story and lore. The Dark Souls series is known for having fantastic lore that provides an extra layer of depth to the story and its bosses and locations. However, most of the lore is accessed through item descriptions and character dialogue, and so it can be quite hard to piece together in-game. Dark Souls 3 will feature small gravestones scattered around the world that, when interacted with, provide extra lore and content to the story. On top of this, Dark Souls 3 will have roughly 60 minutes of cutscenes, more than there has ever been in a Souls game. Whilst we are glad that the story will be more accessible, we hope that certain elements will still be open to interpretation, much like the previous games. At number 3, we have multi-staged boss fights. In Dark Souls 3, all of the bosses you fight will change their attack patterns during the fight. For example, when battling a boss known as the Dancer of the Frigid Valley, the Dancer wields a single fiery blade at the beginning of the fight. When its health is depleted to a certain point, it pulls out a second sword covered in ash. Along with the second weapon, it learns new attacks and abilities. This is a feature that was included in Bloodborne and Dark Souls 2 to some degree. However, in Dark Souls 3, every boss will have some element of change during the battle. It will make bosses more unpredictable, intense, and as a result, more difficult. It seems as though Dark Souls 3 will go back to its roots by providing brutally punishing boss battles that provide an overwhelming sense of victory when overcome. Coming out at number 2, it's the new weapon art system. In Dark Souls 3, players will be able to affect the way their character uses each weapon through weapon arts. It opens up a new set of special, more powerful moves for each weapon. In some instances, weapon arts will be accessed by first entering a ready stance, which can then lead to a couple of different moves depending on the situation. In others, a weapon will have a single weapon art available, such as spinning around in a circle whilst dual wielding. These options also play into a new shield system that only allows players to parry with certain shields. On top of this, weapon arts will also affect range weapons, as we see a player firing arrows at a rapid pace in the gameplay trailer, much like Legolas from Lord of the Rings. Weapon arts will add an extra layer of depth to the already brilliant combat system. It will allow players to have a more personal combat style and provide various solutions to tough situations. Finally, at number 1, the pinnacle of Dark Souls 3's new features, we have Bonfire Creation. This is by far one of the biggest changes to the Souls series to date, but not much is known about how it will work. In the cinematic section of the gameplay trailer shown at Gamescom, the player can be seen impaling a body with a bonfire stave. The body ignites and implies that a new bonfire has been created. From the demo, we are aware that there will be bonfires scattered around the world like previous games. It's possible that the player will be able to make a bonfire wherever they choose by sacrificing an enemy's body. Another rumour surrounding the new feature is that creating a bonfire is a sinful act, and players are more likely to be invaded by enemy phantoms when they sacrifice bodies. If this is true, it will help to balance the new feature. It is unknown whether the bonfires that are created are permanent and whether they can be fast traveled to. This feature is at number 1 because we believe it will totally change the dynamics of the game by adding an extra layer of strategy. For example, if you're really struggling to defeat a boss, you may be able to place a bonfire right outside the fog wall, thus eliminating the risk of getting injured prior to the fight. Also, farming can be made easier and safer by placing a bonfire right outside the area you want to farm. You will be able to repeatedly spend the souls you farm by returning to your bonfire. We will be sure to keep you updated on any further information about this new feature. Okay, so that's our top 5 new features of Dark Souls 3. We'd love to know what new features you're excited for, so please comment below. Dark Souls 3 will be released on Xbox One, PS4 and PC on the 24th of March 2016, so be sure to go and get it. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Thanks very much, guys.